Let's have a little chat, shall we? Hopefully I'll be able to make this video without interruptions. I'm alone right now. You know, I'm rarely alone anymore. Y'all done heard my man on camera sometimes, child. My friend, whatever. But anyway, um, I wanted to come through and I wanted to talk about something that I've been experiencing. Because life experience and personal experiences in your own reality is part of your occult existence. The things that are hidden within our subconscious that surface and manifest right in front of us. Things that we think that we've dealt with and we haven't dealt with. I've been dealing with some energies lately. And one of the energies that I've been dealing with this past year is people transitioning. And I have not spoken about it in depth because I've been numb. I've been numb since 2016. And I'm trying not to get emotional, but emotions are tied to your spirit. And I'm going to get into that. I'm going to get into that a little bit later. Everyone knows that in 2016, I suffered a loss, someone that was dear to my heart. Even though we did not know each other a very long time, that person had a very, very strong impact on me because of how he treated me. And I'm talking about Christopher Barry. He's the only black man in my life that never judged me, that always treated me with respect. He always treated me with dignity the short period of time that I knew him. And when Christopher could not give me his best, this is why I love him so much as a man and I respect him as a man. Because as a man, when you cannot give someone your best, if you're a man and you're dealing with women and you can't give a woman your best, the best thing for you to do is walk away sometimes. And that is what I really appreciate for Christopher. That's what I really appreciate about him, rather. When Christopher could not be his best with me, he wouldn't come around me. Whenever he was going through whatever he was going through, he made sure not to include me in that because that was him showing me how much he loved me and cared about me as his friend. And like I said, he is the only black man, the only other black man in my life that has never really mistreated me or, made me feel as though that I was beneath him. Now, my friend that I have now, he's a good guy. Don't get me wrong. He's a good guy, but we just have a different type of relationship. He has a different set of values. And I have to understand that. I don't have to, accept it. Well, I do have to accept it, but I don't have to like it. But he has a different set of values. He has a different way of thinking, a different thinking mechanism. He's a Leo. And truthfully, so am I. Christopher was a Gemini. And I normally don't get along with Geminis, but I think Christopher was operating more so in his Virgo because he had energies in Virgo as well. And that was interesting too. So he knew not to include me in whatever was going on in his life at that time. So when he could not give me his best, he stayed away. And when he passed away, when he transitioned suddenly, it left a void in me. And I didn't realize it until recently. I have been numb since Christopher passed because that pain that I felt when he passed away, I wanted to make sure that I never felt that pain again. So I created a defense mechanism, and I became what people would call not complacent, but just numb as a defense mechanism. And that's not always good. And I begin to shut off my emotions. And it wasn't without help. We have to look at the time that we were in back in 2016, 2017. That was really when, or that was the beginning stages of a global agenda to get people, especially Black women and Black men, to shut off your emotions, to not react to people when they pass away. Now, I understand the spiritual meanings of death, and I understand you're supposed to celebrate when someone dies. I get all that, but you're still supposed to mourn when you lose someone that you love. And that part of me was shut off. And I did not realize it until this death that I'm currently dealing with. When Christopher died, it made me realize, see, sometimes we have to realize something. When people die, it can open up dimensions and give us opportunities. And I've spoke about this before. It can open up dimensions and give us opportunity to grow and learn. But sometimes that opportunity or that door or window for opportunity, we miss it because we're overshadowed by the grief. And I was overshadowed by so much grief. But one thing that it did help me to understand was that I was still carrying around the pain and the trauma of losing my grandmother 30 some years before. So sometimes trauma can expose other trauma or things that we are holding on to that no longer serve us in that way. You're going to always miss people that are no longer here. That shit is not motherfucking easy when you love the person. You're going to always miss people, especially if it's a person that had an impact on your life. And Christopher had an impact on my life. My grandmother that died had an impact on my life. And other people who've had impacts on my life that have transitioned. And especially when they died suddenly and young. Christopher was only 36. And he was not ready to die, no matter what people were saying. There are things that he knew about that, that he thought would lead to his death, but he was not ready to die. Christopher was not ready to die. He had so much more to do. And, sometimes in the, how can I put this? Sometimes in the moments of my grief, I used to say that I wish I could have been the one that died in his place because he was so much more valuable to this world, in my opinion. And yeah, I am getting a little teary-eyed because you're supposed to. People want to hide this, but you're supposed to feel emotion. You're supposed to feel these emotions. You're supposed to feel sadness when it's necessary. You're supposed to feel joy. You're supposed to feel passion. That lets you know that your pineal gland is secreting enough melanin in your body. So I used to feel like, I wish I could have took his place in death. If that would have gave him more time to do the things he needed to do. And that is how I know that was a soulmate connection for me, if people want to call it that. The reason that I'm talking about this is because I recently had another person that transitioned. This is the fourth one. Death is not coming in threes anymore. Like people used to say that symbolism, death comes in threes. No, It's coming as it pleases. Death is coming as it pleases. That cliche that death comes in threes, no, 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 no. That is being unveiled and exposed to be not true. A lot of these things that we have been thinking, these cliches and these things that people have told us to believe, are not true. A close family friend passed away recently, and she was the aunt of my childhood friend who died many years ago. He died from AIDS, and you all know I've talked about him before. His aunt passed away recently, and she was another person that had an impact on my life because I've known her all my life. She was like an aunt to me. We were like family. And at first, when I was at her services, I was sitting with my family who was there. But when I was at her services, the grief did not hit me there. It hit me when I got home later on that night. And then going back to the old neighborhood to go to her funeral, going back to that old neighborhood where I grew up, where my mother grew up, I was just overwhelmed with emotions when I got home that night, just thinking about all of the people that I have, that have transitioned. And she was sick, and nobody wants to see a person suffering in their sickness or their debilitating illness or anything like that. No one wants to see that. So I knew she was sick. So I'm happy she's no longer suffering. The problem is that for the past 6 years, I have not been feeling anything. Because when Christopher died, I shut my heart chakra off. And it takes real wisdom, and I have to give myself credit. It takes real wisdom and knowledge to understand self, to understand what's going on within you, instead of always trying to tell somebody else what's going on within them. You see people all the time trying to tell other people that this is going on in you and that's going on with you, but never do you see those people talk about what's going on with them and show their raw emotions. And I'm mainly talking about other Black men who claim to be spiritualist or occultist. Yes, I said it. And I'm not calling anybody out. I'm calling out the energies. Fuck the human. I'm talking about the energies. It takes emotion, what they tell you to not pay attention to, which is the right side of your brain. It takes emotion and spirit to understand, to give you that wisdom that you need and understanding to understand what's going on inside of you. So this current death, it made me face what I had been holding back. I wasn't just crying about this woman that just passed away. I wasn't upset just about that. I was crying about the 3 or 4 other deaths that I had to deal with this past year, that I was numb to. I've been numb for the past 6 years. I thought it was 2. No, the past 2 years. We all have been a little numb because of everything that has been transpiring within the universe. And the agenda to get people to be more like a cyborg robotic type of mind, to have a more robotic type of mindset. And I'm not going to say it's the government. I don't care nothing about none of that bullshit. We have gotten entangled in someone else's reality. Here's what I'm talking about. They just came out with this report in Illinois, and they're calling it the Purge, like those movies, the Purge, where people can go around killing people and for a certain amount of time and not getting any type of, or not receiving any type of consequence or jail time. They made movies about this. And the first state to actually implement this type of energy is Illinois, allegedly. But something said to me, wait a minute. Yeah, that may be happening. Yeah, that may be true. Yeah, they may be doing that. But what about you? And I said to myself, what about me? What do you mean, what about me? What about you? What do you need to purge within you? That's the question that we should be asking ourselves. Because, see, right now, people in general, we are entangled in other people's reality. We are all entangled up in this virtual reality that we live in. We believe everything that we see online. We believe everything, and I don't mean we as the people that are watching me. I'm speaking figuratively, not literally. I'm not talking to the people that watch me. I'm talking to the people out there. We believe whatever we see on those fake reality shows, the Bravo effect. We believe whatever we see on the news. We think everything is real. And we don't really know if the stuff that they show us happened a decade ago. And now they're just telling us about it to keep us in a certain frequency, a certain lower frequency, to keep us entangled in their reality so they can continue to feed off of us. So when I think about this purge, I'm going to put the human shit about it aside. Yes, I understand what that means. I understand exactly what that means, what they're doing. And that's fucking terrible. But I want to focus on myself for a minute. Because the real purge that should be taking place right now is inside of me. Because I just told you that I've been holding on to grief and emotions for the past 6 years. Because I numbed myself. And then the world helped to numb me as well. We've been watching black men and black women being murdered. We've been watching people being, treated unjustly. We've been watching children snatched away from their parents. I'm talking about what happened to the Latinos during that whole thing under Trump. We've been watching all of these things transpire. We've been watching the abuse of black and brown people constantly. I know black and brown people, we got our issues with each other. I know that. I know brown people can be racist as a motherfucker sometimes. I know that. But it's time to really look beyond that for a moment and really look at what's really happening. Because brown people, let me tell you something. They coming for you too. They're sending your people to concentration camps. A lot of the brown people that they're bringing over here and sending them to military bases, your next step is a concentration camp. This is not the land of milk and honey like they're trying to tell you. They're not going to have an easy road, most of them. Some of them, maybe the one percenters, they like to stay within that 1% vibration, that frequency. Because one can be a very volatile number. So they're going to keep them they're going to keep the 1%ers of those people. They're going to keep them in certain places. They're going to have them in place for whatever agenda, but you're still a slave at the end of the day. And when I say a slave, I'm not talking in any racially charged terms or derogatory terms. I'm talking about your mind is a slave. You can see that in the movie Nope and the stances that they're taking. Keke Palmer and Daniel Kaluuya, they're all looking up in the air because that is the frequency that we're living up under now. Everybody's looking up instead of looking within. Distracting you from looking within keeps you from tapping into your emotions. Your emotions is where you find your power, black men. That is why black women are so fucking powerful, because black women know how to tap into their emotions. Let me say that again. That is why black women are so powerful, because they know how to tap into their emotions. This is not the time to be turning against the black woman, because it's really going to be the black woman, not the black man. It's really going to be the black woman, the womb man, born biological female, womb man. It's going to be the black womb man that is going to have to bring us to redemption, or lead us to redemption, or lead the way. And when I say lead the way, I mean bringing back that ancient wisdom, bringing back that ancient enlightenment on a higher frequency, on a higher level. And we're seeing that now. Divine feminine, black divine feminine wisdom. Black divine feminine wisdom is returning. And people are not seeing it. I'm seeing it. I'm seeing the portals opening up. I'm seeing the energies opening up. And divine feminine wisdom teaches you to be your own deity, to be your own titan, to create your own reality and not follow anybody else. See, people that are looking up, those are the sheep. See, I'm a goat. I don't look up. I look down. I don't look up. I look down. I look down at the other sheep and I look ahead. I don't look up, because I don't give my energy to anyone else. And people that say that God is not real, oh, God is real. It's just that you're looking in the wrong place. You're looking in the wrong place. You find God within you. And I'm not preaching, I'm just telling you what I know. The purge is happening within you. The purge is happening within you. It's happening within me. This is the time that you are supposed to rid yourself of these unwanted emotions that no longer serve you. Don't cut off your emotions. You get rid of unwanted, unneeded emotions that you no longer need anymore. That is what the purge is all about. And the purge that we're seeing in Illinois is in alignment with what's supposed to be happening inside of us as melanated people. Let me say that again. The purge that's happening in Illinois is in alignment with everything that's happening with inside of us on a subatomic level, on a subdimensional level, in the different recesses and dimensions of the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is not just one thing. When Jesus said there are many mansions in my Father's kingdom, he was talking about the subconscious mind and the spirit of it. So the purge in Illinois, while that may be distracting and while that may be true, the real purge you should be paying attention to is inside of you. And you see how that rhymes? While the purge in Illinois may be true, and while that may be something we need to watch, the real purge that you need to be taking, that you need to really be looking at, is inside of you. That is why a lot of people's emotions are off right now. That is why a lot of people feel depressed, anxiety, a lot of different emotions, because there's a lot of changing taking place in the dimensions and in the frequency of the planet. There are a lot of different entities that are now uprooting, or demons, or whatever you want to call it. There are a lot more people that are susceptible to being, for certain things to attach to them now. There are a lot of things that are taking place within the energies. But as long as we're being distracted by Ray J and Kris Jenner and all this other bullshit, for the past 2 years, and I'm not going to say anybody did it per se, it's just the natural order of things. For the past 2 years, we have been locked down, we have been isolated, and those people who are not so-called chosen ones, and those people who are not ancient, gifted, enlightened people, such as myself, those people who don't have that mark have really gone a little cuckoo because they can't deal with these end time events. And when I say end time events, I don't mean the world ending. Let me be clear. I'm not a fearmonger. I don't do that. People always talk about, oh, the world is going to, everything is symbology and symbolism. Worlds end and new worlds are born. And a lot of that, most of the time, if not all of the time, that is taking place without the whole world being destroyed. Old civilizations die and new ones are born all the time. But you have to create your own reality to the best of your ability. Being a self-created deity, you have to create your own reality so you won't be totally affected by the things that are happening in the physical world. And that is why, and I'm not saying this to brag, but that is why a lot of the things that are happening, they're not affecting myself and maybe a few others. Come on now. I'm in this physical world. So there's going to be some effects. But it's not affecting me. I noticed something by me being spiritual. I'm a scientist, a spiritual scientist. I look at things and I go back and look at everything that has happened. And I'm like, damn, I came through all of that. Yes, you did, because you're enlightened. And your spirit, your emotion gets you through those things. See, people oftentimes misconstrue what emotions are for. And people oftentimes, excuse me, people oftentimes say, oh, that person's too emotional, or you're too emotional. You motherfucking right. I am emotional because my emotions, I'm not talking about being irrational. People get irrational emotions mixed up with emotion. We're not talking about being irrational. We're talking about having access to your emotions, because your emotions speaks to you. Your emotions are your spirit. That's your spirit. How do I sense spirits? Through my emotions. When a loved one is coming near me spiritually, I begin to cry. Just like when I was talking about Christopher Barry earlier, his spirit was coming. His spirit was coming and shadowing me and coming over me. And I felt the emotion fill up. I felt tears coming into my eyes because of the love that I had for him and the love we had for each other as friends. I felt that spirit. That is how I communicate. That is how I do it. Because my emotions are intact. And then I have other parts of my mind, or alters, as people would say, that are not so nice, that will fuck you up and don't give a fuck about you or your life or anything else. But that part of me, I keep that kind of cloaked because I don't want that to come out on the wrong person for the wrong reason. That only comes out on the most desperate circumstances. That's like the red button. And you don't want to push my motherfucking red button, because if you push my red button, I don't even want to go there. But I'm saying that to show you all of this is tied to your emotion. And people oftentimes misconstrue emotion with irrational emotions. And that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about being irrational. We're talking about tapping into spirit. And emotions are the gateway to spirit and the higher realms. And it starts with your heart, aka your mind. Your mind and your heart are the same thing. You can feel and think with your heart just like you can with your proverbial mind. So the purge that we really need to be focusing on is the purge that should be taking place inside of you. At this time, this is an opportunity for people who are doing this work to really be focusing on themselves and what you are holding on to that is keeping you stagnant. This is not a time for you to be running here, running there, kissing ass, and just wanting to be around somebody because they're YouTube famous. This is really an opportunity for you to get untangled from other people's reality and start creating your own. I knew, just based upon my spiritual observation, that I had begun creating my own reality based upon the birds that I started seeing around me. I started seeing birds that I had never seen before. And based upon some of my studies, when I used to read books by Dolores Cannon, I think it was Dolores Cannon. Yeah, it was Dolores Cannon. She was a hypnotherapist that used her skill to not only hypnotize people to help them overcome everyday human afflictions, but also to take them back into past lives and even beyond. She was a motherfucking brilliant motherfucking genius. Yeah, she was a white lady, but that lady did some brilliant motherfucking work. I fuck with Dolores Cannon. She wrote several books. The Convoluted Universe. I think I have the Convoluted Universe part 4 or 5. I can't remember, but I have her book. I did not read the other parts, the 1, 2, and 3, and 4. I think I have 4. I think I have part 4, if I'm not mistaken. I think so. But I have one of those books. I just went straight to the main book because I'm a more advanced, student. So I went straight to the most recent one. And it blew me the fuck away. And when she was talking about how if your frequency and vibration is rising, she said that one thing that you will begin to notice is the change. You will see different types of species, like different birds and stuff that you had never seen before. And I've been seeing birds that are blue, orange, yellow, red. I had never seen that before. And that's because the realities are changing. But if you keep listening to lower vibrating people, you're going to be stuck and entangled in that reality with them. Of course, things are going to affect you sometimes in the physical world, but it doesn't have to be detrimental. And how do you create your own reality? How do you do that? You create it by going within you and commanding what you want and doing whatever, spiritual work that you do, working with whomever you want to work with that's a pure-hearted person that's really about this motherfucking work in life. I'm no you, and then here's another thing. You have to disconnect from this fear mongering stuff. There's a lot of fear mongering going on YouTube right now because of everything that's taking place in the world. See, once they got you with the COVID stuff, once they got you with that, now it opens up a opportunity and a door and a window to keep instilling fear in you. Now they're trying to do it with monkeypox. Now they're trying to go back and do the same thing they did back in the 1980s with Russia and the United States. See, it just keeps going. And when I say they, I'm not even talking about the government. Government ain't that motherfucking powerful. I'm talking about the power and the tool of AI. I'm talking about the media. The media is really the one that we really need to be mindful of. And that includes YouTube, Google, and all of these other, fake demiurge deities and gods that has stolen so many people's, energies and essence. But I see a lot of fear mongering on YouTube. Oh, they're gonna get us. They're coming, and oh, we're all gonna die, and da 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 da, and all of this fear mongering. So that tells me that people feel powerless. People really feel powerless. They feel that they have a passive aggressive relationship with their inner power or their inner magic. Because even if we all are going to die, you go down motherfucking fighting. You go down motherfucking fighting. Because I am. If that's the case, especially if you have babies to take care of and children or whatever, But it doesn't have to be that way when you live in your own individual reality. But the problem is, and see, it's very few people like me. I am a solitary, let's just say I'm a solitary spirited person. I'm a spirited person. I'm a solitary traveler of the universe and the universe. And I have been around for millions of years. Millions upon millions. I'm a very old soul. I'm a very old traveler. I've seen so many things. Some of the things I've seen, I can't really put here on YouTube. Because if I put it on YouTube, people would think that I'm crazy. I will tell you this much. I have seen the creation of the planets. I've gone back that far because I was there. I'm an interdimensional spirited traveler. And so are most of you. So are most of you. And I'm going to say something very controversial. And I'm saying this not because of hatred or dislike, but all kinfolk, all skinfolk ain't kinfolk. All black people don't possess the same form of melanin. All black people are not spirited. All black people are not cosmic beings or ancient. No, they're not. Some of these black people are demiurge types of energies that are low vibrating people that come here only to seek to distract you from your true spiritual path. And those are the beings that bring chaos and confusion into your life. Like a lot of the black men that have done that to me. And some black women too. Now I ain't talking about nobody on no YouTube. Fuck YouTube. Fuck YouTube people. I don't fuck with these bitches and niggas on here like that. And I'm not talking to the people that genuinely watch me and support me. Not you all. Not you. The 20 or so people that really fuck with me, I ain't talking to you. I'm talking about the ones I've had personal experiences with. Like the ones who call themselves a Christian, like that woman, Sweetie, I told you about, who basically wished death on her daughter and granddaughter. But yet she wants her daughter to let her see the granddaughter. If you don't purge, you will perish. If you don't purge, you will perish. You have to get untangled out of these other people's realities, and you have to be confident in the fact that you can create your own. You have to stand in your confidence and know that you can create your own reality, and you don't have to be bogged down or burdened with all of the woes of what's happening in the world today. That is why I believe in following the wisdom of the ancient woman, the ancient black woman, the wise woman, aka the witch. I believe in following the wisdom of those women, those ancient wise, because my advisors are not men. My advisors spiritually are black women. And I'm not talking about black women in the flesh. I'm talking about black women in the spirit, those ancestors of mine from millions of years ago. They are the ones who speak through me. I'm speaking, they're speaking through me from Africa, wherever, the ancient Americas, where I originate from, as far back as the Aztecs. I've gone back and I've seen the existences that I've had. So, with that being said, why the fuck would I follow any motherfucking body on YouTube? Why the fuck should you follow anybody on YouTube? I ain't saying nobody shouldn't go to people if they need some type of spiritual guidance. No, I'm not saying that. Especially if it's a woman, a black woman, the right type. I don't have to tell people what I do, and neither do you. You do your own motherfucking work if you can. If you can't do it, you get somebody else to do it for you. But the purge is really about the purge going on within you and them trying to align themselves with us so they can raise up in this motherfucking energy and frequency as well. And as long as we are distracted, they will get the benefits. I'm talking about the misfits. They will get the benefits, and we will be stuck in their reality if we don't begin to separate. We have to start separating ourselves out of these other people's realities and start creating realities of our own. And you do that through zonation. Fuck that meditation. Get into your zonation. Get into your zone. That's my new word for meditation, your zone nation. Get into your zone, like I'm in my zone right now. When you get into your zone, it will help delay the aging process. When I went to the funeral, everybody kept saying to me, "Oh my God, Seer, you have not aged in 20 years. You look so good. And you're 43. They were looking at me. "Oh my God, you look so good. You have not," because a lot of them have not seen me in many, many, many years. Because I don't deal with a lot of people. And I was going to say earlier, you know, I am one of the few solitary types of spirited people. I was going to say this earlier, but I went off into a whole nother tangent. Um, I don't deal with a lot of people. I'm a solitary person. There are people that I talk to, but I stay to myself. And I stay to myself for a reason. Because in this spiritual life, you ain't got no motherfucking friends. And I learned that being over there with those niggas in that black conscious community. Those niggas don't give a fuck about anybody. And it ain't got nothing to do with you being gay or nothing like that. They just don't give a fuck about anybody. They're fake and they're phony. And I said it, and I ain't taking it back. But that's okay because listen, I have mastered the art of being alone. Oh good, that's not my man coming in. I'm glad about that. I've I've mastered the art of being alone. And I read somewhere that being alone or mastering that is really a superpower. Truthfully, my man, he moved in with me. He moved in with me because he wanted to be near me, and he got tired of paying that high ass rent where he was at. So he moved in with me last year. I'm fine living by myself. And why wouldn't he want to move in with me? Because where he was living at was a goddamn dump, paying all that damn rent. Where he was living at wasn't, it was just a dump. The building looked like a dump. He wanted to come in with me, you know? So, but that wasn't something that I was looking for. The universe just said, hey, I'm giving this to you, whether you like it or not. I was like, okay, I guess. It's okay when he ain't getting on my motherfucking nerves, eating up all my goddamn ice cream, child. But that's another story. But I have mastered the art of being alone. I've mastered that. And that's a superpower. Being alone is a superpower. I don't mean being lonely. I don't mean being lonely. Those are two different things, being alone and being lonely. I ain't never fucking lonely. You're never lonely. And the reason that I know that I'm never lonely is because I'm not disconnected from the spirit world. I feel my ancestors around me. I feel them guiding me. I feel their love. I feel their support. And I see the manifestations of their support. I'm not talking about no motherfucking money and houses and how to take money from people. I'm not talking about that. And if that offends anybody with me saying that, fuck you and fuck your offense. Do something about it. This ain't the time to be offended. I saw some shit the other day some lady was saying about gay people. And I watch her videos sometimes. She's an older lady in her mid to late 50s. She was saying some really hateful, disgusting things about gay people. But that's not going to deter me off of my motherfucking spiritual path. If anything, me being a Virgo / Leo, if anything, that's going to make me even more determined. Please don't let that be my friend coming in, child, because I like to talk freely, because he'll be talking to me if I'm. No, that's not him. So don't get caught up in the distractions. And if you don't purge, you're going to perish. We all come down here to do a certain amount, of work, of spiritual work. But do not let these distractions get you off your motherfucking course. And that includes low vibrating, ghetto, ratchet, disgusting ass people. Because that's what they do. I don't deal with ghetto, ratchet people. I don't deal with them. I can deal with them from a long distance. I don't have them in my house. I don't have them around me. I deal with people that got a good fucking head on their shoulders. And the problem is that the spiritual world and the world in general is being ran by these ghetto, ratchet ass motherfucking niggas who look at life through the lenses of pimp and prostitute. And the spiritual world was not like that. There's no dignity and integrity anymore in the spiritual community. And that is why I don't fuck with it. And I don't give a fuck who gets mad about it. Like I said, do something about it. Do something about it. I'm about my motherfucking mother's work. And when I say that, I'm being, kind of, practical and layman when I say that. But I'm about my mother's work. I'm about my mother's work. And the mother's work is not about this bullshit. Like you see Ray J now. Let me loop back to him. Now he's crying and whining about, oh, Kris Jenner had my Instagram account blocked and all that bullshit. Who gives a fuck? Now all of a sudden the Kardashians are a problem to a lot of these black men after you were fucking them, sucking them, giving them all your motherfucking energy, giving them all of your big dick motherfucking energy. Now black men, y'all don't have big dick energy no motherfucking more. It didn't, and now white boys are getting it, and Latin men are getting it, and Mexican men are getting the shit now. No disrespect to my brothers out there, but this is because of your conscious intentions. You were so busy trying to get back at black women and trying to get even with black women, and now look at the reality that you created for yourself. You've created a reality for yourself where you're no longer the pimp. Now you the motherfucking hoe. Ray J is a hoe. Ray J is the hoe. And the Kardashians are his pimp. Because you were not spiritually guided. Because you shut off your emotions. Kim Kardashian should have never had more money than Ray J or Brandy. Wasn't she Brandy's assistant? A hair assistant or something like that? And now you're crying, calling them racist. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. I don't really give a fuck. But at the end of the day, I don't have no sympathy for Ray J. I don't have no sympathy for none of those motherfucking niggas. And I don't have sympathy for them because they were stupid. I may have a certain amount of compassion, but I don't have sympathy for them because you should have known better. And you should have been more selective with your energy and your dick. White men are. Mexican men are. Latin men are. Black men are the only ones that are not. I know I am. I don't go giving my energy freely to nobody, especially no other culture. And it's no disrespect to those cultures, but I am about preserving my melanin. And if I am going to share my melanin with someone of another culture, I'm going to get something. It's going to be a fair exchange. Let me tell you all a story. I had an encounter with this fine ass Latin dude. He was fine as shit. He was fine. This was a while back. He was a little bit younger than me. This was maybe about, a couple of years ago. And we hooked up to do what we did, right? Let me show you the power of melanin and the power of my energy. Without getting into all of the details, I put my hand, this dude was fine as shit. He was Latino. He looked more white, but he was Latino. I could see the cream color, but he was Latino. He wasn't white, he was Latino. Cream color, but he looked mixed, let's just say that. And he was fine as shit. He had cornrows in his hair and everything. And we were talking, he wasn't from the DC area, he was from Florida. And he told me he was in them gangs and shit. What do they call them? S gang, whatever. He said he was just really, really horny and stressed. I was like, so am I. Because at that time, shit, I was going through, I was displaced out of my home. I was homeless for a little while, so I was going through my shit too, child, right? And I was staying in a hotel. He came to the hotel. I put my hands on him. All I did was rub on him. I rubbed him. I put my hands on his neck. I rubbed him all over his chest. He was going into convulsions in pleasure, not pain. He was going into convulsions in pleasure because that's how good my touch. All I had to do was touch him and he ejaculated everywhere. I didn't even have to, I didn't have to put it in my mouth. I didn't even have to touch it. All I had to do was rub my hands all over his back, all over his chest. I did put my hands between his legs, not to be graphic. I did touch his legs, and he ejaculated from that. Do you think I'm going to let someone suck that type of energy from me? He was so thankful to me afterwards. He loved it was and you know, I am for me, I'm more like a pleasure sadist. You know how they have sadists who would like to give pain? I like to give pleasure. That gets me off. That's just my bailiwick or whatever you want to call it. That's what I like to do. I like to give pleasure versus causing people pain and anguish. I don't like doing that. Only to enemies. With them, I have no mercy. None. But he was just so relieved. I mean, it was, he said, he told me, he said, your touch. And men have told me that he said, your touch. He said, you just touched me. He said that even, you know, the other people he was dealing, they weren't able to do that. So that is why I say we have to protect our energy as melanated people, men and women. We have to protect our energy. And black men, you've gone out and you've allowed your energy to be sucked. And then they turn around and use your fucking sperm in fucking rituals, satanic rituals, and druid rituals, which can be ultimately combined. And then you wonder why you end up in jail all the time. You're wondering why you're ending up sick. You're wondering, go back and think about all of the people that you slept with. Go back and think about it. Now, I know some things happen because they happen, but for those that it applies to, go back and think about your sexual encounters. You want to ejaculate in everybody's mouth, but you don't understand that people can use your life force that comes from your third eye, your pineal gland. You don't understand that people can use that to do work on you. And not just do work on you in this dimension, but across the motherfucking dimensions. That can fuck you up in multiple ways. But see, black men, you're no longer multi-dimensional. You're now one-dimensional. Because the only thing that you were interested in was satisfying your licentious cravings. So now you've become them and they've become you. And I've said this before. So that is why I say I'm here to do my mother's work. I'm not here to play. I'm here to slay, bitch. I'm here to slay, bitch. I ain't come to play. And that is how you need to be about your spiritual journey or your spiritual experiences or your spiritual conquest. You didn't come here to fucking play. Maybe a little bit. You came here to do work. You came here to do work. And unfortunately, for black men, it's just not looking good for a lot of you. And this is not coming from a place of hatred or anger. This is coming from a place of concern. Because I'm looking at what's going on with Ray J, and the reason I'm mentioning these clowns is because this energy is dictating the culture. And this is the reality that you all have created for yourselves using that template. There is no way a Pete Davidson should be more famous and richer than any black man. There's no way that clown buffoon, Pete Davidson, should be more influential than a black man. No way. No way. But black men, you've gotten caught up in other people's reality. You've got entangled with other people's reality because you were caught up in the distraction and the illusion. And you didn't purge. You don't want to purge. You don't want to get rid of what no longer serves you. And if you don't purge, you will perish. You will perish. This surface level shit is not going to serve you anymore. So if Kris Jenner and the Kardashians got Ray J blocked from Instagram, good motherfucker, you probably need to be blocked off of Instagram for a while. You probably need to be blocked. Go in your damn closet and sit in the dark. Go in that damn closet and sit in the dark. Stop being such a fucking codependent person. Go sit in the motherfucking dark and listen to your motherfucking spirit. Listen to the God that's supposed to be within you if it's still there. Or did you let the Kardashians suck that out of you? Nah, the real motherfucking reason that you're getting upset is because they doing that practical motherfucking witchcraft on your ass. They doing that practical witchcraft on your motherfucking ass. That's the real reason that you're upset. But you ain't speaking on that. And that lets you know that the Kardashians really don't have no motherfucking power. Everybody's so scared to talk about the motherfucking Kardashians. I'm not. Let them come after me. Please do. Please do. Yeah, I said it. While other people are scared of these motherfucking celebrities, I'm not. They're powerful, and so am I. And so am I. And more so. And more so. 1,000,000,000,000 times more. So if they shut off your goddamn Instagram, nigga, it probably needs to be shut off. You probably need to go sit your ass down somewhere and think about the shit that you have done that has contributed to harming black men and black people in this country. Black men, you brought that motherfucking entity, the Kardashians, into the black community. You uplifted them motherfucking bitches. You put them in a pedestal over black women. That is what you did. And now you're mad. Why? Because you ain't got no money? Oh, you mad because, they used you and they threw you away. Is that why you're mad? Oh, no, you're mad because they're doing that practical motherfucking witchcraft on your motherfucking ass and you can't get out of it. Is that why you're mad? Or are you mad because they're using their ancient ancestral magic against you? And varie en guasio minte, en guarie anolaminte galgoshindo. Is that what they're doing to you all? Over their crystal ball? While they have your sperm right there, and your hair, and your fingernails, and your ball hairs, and everything else? Because you're caught up in their reality, Ray J. You're caught up in the Kardashians' reality. And I know some things about them that I can't really put up here on YouTube. And I'm not going to get into it. And it's not something that somebody told me either. I got spiritual connections outside of this world. It's nothing that nobody told me in this world. Okay? I know something about them that I can't put out. I cannot put out. Because they might try to sue me. You're caught up in their reality. Because you don't purge. And you're not connected to your emotions. You're only connected to NFTs. You're not connected to your emotions. So you can't see clearly. When you're not connected to your emotions, you can't see clearly. You're connected to that dick though, aren't you? You're worried about that though. You're worried about the next pussy you can go up in. White pussy that you can go up in rather. You're worried about that. All of you black men that have suffered at the hands of the Kardashians, you brought it on yourselves. What's his name? Lamar Odom? Reggie Bush, the man that Kim Kardashian was married to before all these niggas. Kim Kardashian don't want to be black no more. She wants to go back to being white. That's why she's trying to pull Marilyn Monroe's spirit now. She don't want to be black no more. And all of you niggas like Ray J, now all of y'all fucking mad and you want to come out and expose and doing all that. It's too late. It's too late. Because you should have never been laying up in that garbage can any motherfucking way. Even Beyonce, and I'm not a big Beyonce fan, but even Beyonce don't want anything to do with her. And kudos to the motherfucking queen when it comes to that. Kudos to motherfucking Beyonce when it comes to that. Beyonce's a Virgo like me, and we're very, 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 very snobbish at times. Beyonce don't even want nothing to do with that. And I don't blame her. For that, I'm with Beyonce on that. She the queen bee on that. Kim Kardashian could never touch Beyonce. And there's some jealousy there. You know she's jealous of Beyonce. No matter what people may think or say about Beyonce, Beyonce has a consistency with her career, with her money, and with her husband. She's only been married one motherfucking time. No matter what problems her and Jay-Z may have, and I'm not a Beyonce fan all like that. I liked her more when she was in Destiny's Child, but I ain't got nothing against her. Beyonce is doing motherfucking things that Kim Kardashian could never do. And one thing about Jay-Z, at least he is with a black woman. And at least he does recognize the beauty in black women. At least he does invest in a black woman. I will give him that much. But the rest of those motherfucking niggas, now they crying about the Kardashians. Oh, they racist. Oh, they did. Too bad. Too motherfucking bad, too motherfucking sad. Because you got caught up in their reality and you don't know how to create your own. That's why. Anyway, I've talked enough. This video was not supposed to be that fucking long, child. I just had to get a few things off my chest. You know, just looking at, you know, the world and the universe and the innerverse and just making sure that I put my say out there, you know? Anyway, that's all I have to say. Thank you.